The issue of high property taxes goes hand in hand with how the state funds education, and many are arguing the system isn't fair for farmers or students. Channel 8 Eyewitness News reporter Bailey Bischoff has more in tonight's top story.
20 years ago, a former Nebraska rancher and educator started a fight for fairness in Nebraska, trying to find a way to fund education without hurting farmers. Longtime teacher Jack Gould has an interesting perspective when it comes to property taxes. When his family moved to Nebraska, he picked up ranching.
It was at that point we began to see the connection between property taxes and education.
First a teacher at Lincoln Southeast, Jack never had a problem getting supplies. But when he went to Raymond Central, he found the equipment old and curriculum lagging behind Lincoln's. It's because of a state law that has essentially left many rural schools without much state funding, which forces those schools to rely on local property taxes to get money. The demand falls on the shoulders of farmers. I
saw the inequities, I saw the needs. At the same time, here were the farmers, paying 70–80% of the school costs.
So he sued the state in 1989, asking the courts to find a fair way to fund education. The suit narrowly failed in the Supreme Court. Now, decades later, the main source of funding for Nebraska schools are still property taxes, according to Open Sky Policy Institute, a nonpartisan research organization based in Lincoln. In fact, property taxes accounted for nearly $2 billion of Nebraska's public school funding for the 2016-17 year. The state paid $1.4 billion. Even more, a majority of the state's money goes to urban schools.
Go to the rural areas, then you begin to realize how little they get. Some school districts get none of the formula money. Other districts, a district like ours, I think we have a $9 million budget, and last year the state provided $145,000.
State Senator Kurt Friesen sees these same issues in his district near Henderson.
Totally unfair.
He says Nebraska farmers are taxed at a rate of 32 to 40%, while the IRS says the average taxpayer is taxed at a rate of 10%. He's proposing a bill that would change how education is funded.
My bill would, over 3 years, bring that basic funding, that state aid, to 50% to every school in the state, no matter where you live. So it's more equal for students.
And more fair for farmers. He said there'd still be schools getting more money than that if they need it.
It doesn't take anything away from them.
But the money has to come from somewhere. Friesen's solution, up the tax on cigarettes and alcohol. While the idea sounds good to Gould, he says the most fair solution would be to remove the burden from farmers by funding education through income tax.
Whatever the solution may be, it has to be equitable to all. And it has to be something that takes care of the kids as well as the farmers. It has to be something that all people share in. It shouldn't be something that one segment of the population carries the burden and the others sit back and watch or pay a little bit and think it's okay.
Next week, we'll talk with Governor Pete Ricketts and other legislators about a solution. In Lincoln, Bailey Bischoff with photojournalist Lee Marion, Channel 8 Eyewitness News.